Hello everyone! So in this tutorial we're gonna learn how to solve matching type questions in Ielts listening test. And also today we're gonna cover some tips on how to match these questions and do one matching exercise together. Alright, let's rock it! So, as you might know, matching type questions are quite common in sections 2 and 3 of Ielts listening test. And there are 4 types of matching questions. But don't worry, they essentially all share the same purpose. Well, it is to check your understanding of the context and your ability to match appropriate options according to what you hear. So, let's have a look on type number 1. Well, this type is called matching the actions. What do I mean, right? Well, if you look at this type, you can see that you're given a number of options, right? And 3 choices, A, B, and C. So your task is to identify whether, in this case, the student will take a certain course or not. So you need to understand the context and choose letter A or B or C according to the decision of that student. And that's why it's called matching the action, right? The student is making the action, making the choice. Anyways, let's look at type number 2. So this type is called matching the descriptions. And if you look here, you can see that your task is to match hotel descriptions. So you need to listen, understand the context, and match appropriately the descriptions of the hotels. Alright, let's see what we have for type number 3. Well, this type number 3 is called matching the actors. Well, if you look here again, you can see that there are options A, B, C, and there are people's name on it, right? So your task is to match which thing or an action that person is supposed to do. In other words, you have to match people with their following responsibilities, or what are they really supposed to do. And lastly, we have type number 4. It's called matching the items. Okay, look here. So your task is to match the items with the information that was mentioned in regard to them. For instance, you have to pick 3 choices here. The question asks you, what are the 3 items you recommended to take with you to the spa? So, I don't know, it could be slippers, I don't know, it could be towel. So your task is to listen carefully and match the items that you recommended to take. Okay, now let me share with you some tips that will help you to better navigate around this complex multiple choice matching questions. So, here is the tip number 1. Analyze the question. One of the biggest challenges in matching type questions is that it gets tricky, just like in any part, but here especially the speakers can change their minds quickly, and that's why they can make you move back and forth with options. So that's why we recommend you to understand the question itself, like the instructions. What are you supposed to do? And one of the first steps would be to understand the relationship between the question sentence and the question options. Just like we looked at the example in hotel descriptions, as you remember, right? You need to match the hotels with their appropriate descriptions. And if you don't understand the question itself, you're going to be confused because the speakers would be mentioning all other descriptions. But if you don't understand the instructions, I'm afraid that you might end up with a lot of confusions. And on this note, I want to give you tip number 2. Questions come in order. Yes, you know that. Questions will come in order, yet not the answer options. The answer options will be mentioned randomly by the speaker. For example, if you look here in our sample question, the student has to decide whether he will take the course or not, or he's not sure. So the speaker will mention his decisions randomly. So that means even if you are listening the information, let's say to media studies, the speaker will be vacillating between options. Like he might say, I'll think about taking media studies, and then he might change his mind suddenly and he'll say, oh wait, no, I'm gonna take it. So you see, he will be trying to trick you with his chain of thoughts, right? So that's why be aware. Yes, questions come in order, but not the answer options. Last but not least, here is the tip number 3. Beware of paraphrases. Yes, paraphrases or synonyms will be extensively used in IELTS questions. So that's why we recommend you to use your preparation time to think about some words or phrases that might be used to express the same information in the question. Moreover, apart from just thinking of the words, you need to, of course, work on your vocabulary, right? And to help you with that, we recommend you to go into our reading section inside the Clover Lab app and find Paraphrase Game bonus round there. Okay, now it's time to practice. Let's go.
Okay, now please look through these questions from 21 to 25. You have 30 seconds. Pause the video for your own convenience. Now the recording begins.
Come in. Oh, hello, Jack. Have a seat. Right. You said you wanted to see me to talk about your options next semester?
That's right. We have to decide by the end of next week. Really, I'd like to do all 5 options, but we have to choose 2, don't we?
Yes, but the choice depends on your major to some extent. You're majoring in communication studies, aren't you?
That's right.
So, for example, the media studies option will cover quite a lot of the same area you did in the core module on mass communications this semester, the development of the media through the last 2 centuries in relation to political and social issues.
Well, that was interesting, but I've decided I'd rather do something completely new.
Okay, let's look at question 21, media studies. What's the answer? Will Jack do media studies or not? Let's see the tape script. Read the tape script, please. So, you see, Jack said that it was interesting, but he decided to do something new. And that's why the answer is going to be C. He will not do it. Because, he's going to do something new. Okay, let's carry on with question 22.
There's a women's studies option, isn't there?
Yes, women and power. Again, it has a historical focus. It aims to contextualize women's studies by looking at the legal and social situation in the 19th and early 20th centuries.
So it would be useful if I intended to specialize in women's studies, but I'm not sure I do, actually.
Well, it might still be useful to give you an idea of the issues involved. It's taught by Dr. Steed.
Oh, really? I'll sign up for that then.
Okay, question 22, women and power. So what's the answer? Let's look here. So, read the tape script. At first, as you see, Jack says that he is not sure about taking women's studies, which suggests that he may or may not do it. But when he hears that the tutor teaching the course is Dr. Steed, he then decides that he will definitely take this course. So that's why the answer is A. He will definitely do that. Next is question 23.
What about the option on culture and society?
That addresses the historical debate on the place of culture since the Industrial Revolution in Britain.
So, a historical focus again.
Do I get the message you're not so keen on history?
Well, it's just that we seem to have done quite a lot this semester. Anyway, I'll think about that one.
So in question 23, they're talking about culture and society. Please look at the screen, read the script. Well, in this case, Jack is not 100% sure whether to take culture and society, because he says he will think about that one. So then, it means the answer is B. He may or may not do it. Now, let's move on to question 24.
If you're interested in a course focusing on current issues, there's the option on identity and popular culture that approaches the subject through things like contemporary film, adverts, soap operas, and so on.
That sounds interesting. Can you tell me who runs it?
Well, it's normally Dr. Stevens, but he's on sabbatical next semester, so I'm not sure who will be running it. It should be decided by next week, though.
Right. Well, I might wait until then to decide.
Okay, so what's the question 24? Identity and popular culture. Again, in this case, as you see, Jack's decision is not fixed because he is going to wait, and that's why the answer is B. Okay, let's move to question 25.
And the last option is Introduction to Cultural Theory, isn't it? I'm quite interested in that too. I was talking to one of the second-year students, and she said it was really useful. It made a lot of things fall into place.
Yes, but in fact, in your major, you'll have covered a lot of that already in Communications 102, so that might be less useful than some of the others.
Oh, I'll forget about that one then.
Now, while you're here, we could also discuss how you're getting on with your core module assignment.
Here they're talking about Introduction to Cultural Theory. Well, guys, let's read the tape script. As you see, initially, Jack says he's quite interested in that too. But on discovering that he has already covered a lot of the course material in a previous module, he discounts it as an option. So the correct answer is C.
Okay, folks, this is the end of this tutorial. Please apply these tips that I just mentioned. And yeah, keep going. See you around.